And Simone, yes, Simone's in the upstairs with the third. So you think about what a huge footprint that is just in this body. And I'm not going to embarrass you and have the rest of you stand up, but I'm pretty sure that if I asked you who has given to Hope in some way, maybe you've brought a toy, maybe you've donated money, maybe you've served on Wednesday night, maybe you've brought a meal, something of that nature. Maybe you come in and you tutor, you give of your time. Maybe you play pickleball with the kids. Okay, there's so many different ways. Maybe you serve in some capacity. We've got several of our board members that are here. So I would say that if I said that, or maybe you've attended Hope, maybe we have served your family, I would suspect almost all of you would stand up, right? So I want you to know as I share today that you are part of Hope Hohenwald team. And if you hear anything today, I want you to hear partnerships and I want you to hear relationships. I want you to hear community. I don't want you to see Tonya. I don't want you to see necessarily individual staff members, though I'm sure I'm going to be pointing some of them out, because without them and them using their gifts that God has placed in them for our outreach services, it could not happen. So understand that we are all collectively part of a greater vision that's greater than the Dwelling Place Church, that's greater than Hope Hohenwald or any other partnership that we have. So I think about how David says, and I'm probably not going to quote this right, and he may have gotten it from someone else, so I don't know. But if you want to just bake some cookies or bake some bread, you can do that alone. But if you want to be Sarah Lee, you better have partnerships, right? So that's why I want you to hear today. We want to be Sarah Lee in our field, our organization. We know that God has ordained certain things. I mean, I love it when God gives me dreams, visions, and ideas, but I know that they are not my own, they are His, so they are to be shared. So one thing I want to just pick up where I left off in January. I had given the State of the Union address, as I called it, which was what we have done in the past year because of expanding and buying property next door, renovating spaces, and being able to increase capacity. So what I told you was that after school students that were served was 115, which was a 25% increase. Our summer day campers, we served 165, which was a 26% increase due to being able to increase our capacity because of properties next door. Our food distribution outreach, we served a 20% increase than the year before, and I will tell you that will increase this year. We're already seeing that. Hope for the holidays, 204 children were served in-house, but more than 400 total. I'm going to tell you at today, which is early. It doesn't sound early that we're December 10th, but it is early because we will get a lot of last-minute requests. We are already at 187 that we are serving in-house, not collectively that we help the other organizations, that's just in-house. Hope Skates, last year 600 new skaters got to skate at Hope Skates. Easter Extravaganza, between 1,800 and 2,000 in attendance. Dyslexia tutoring, we saw an increase in 100% of the students that were served through Miss Kathy's program. Back to school supplies benefit, I can go on and on and on, and I want you to know that since that time we have sustained. I think that's important to know. We have sustained. Have we increased? No, not a lot. Because why? Because we don't have our space yet, right? We don't have the capacity to increase. But I've got let me get my PowerPoint going. And this is just to keep me on, track, because I'm very passionate about what I'm going to be talking to you about. And when I'm passionate about something, I like to talk about it, and I like to tell you every detail. I am not going to have time because we will literally be here all day. If I sat and I talked to you about the DCS meeting that Sarah and I had with some DCS workers this week, literally begging us to do something because foster kids are sitting in transitional homes waiting for forever homes, and not receiving any services, and asking, can we use your facility? Can you put cots in there? If I give you every detail of that and what's going on, we would be here all day. So there are so many things that are happening that I just don't have time to explain. But I want to give you most of you know about where we come from, but there might be a few of you just really quick. So Building Hope since 2008. We came here in 2008, and I forgot I gotta push it that way, don't I? Come on. Bobby, you may have to click it for me. We were an outreach of Operation Hope Neighborhood Ministries in Jackson, Tennessee. We served under their nonprofit status for 10 years, and then in 2018, we wanted to have our board of directors here so that decisions could be made more at a local level and that we could increase capacity. We had really outgrown Operation Hope in Jackson. So now we are Hope Hohenwald. We didn't have to lose the name completely, but we really felt like we needed to distinguish ourselves. Is a really big buzz phrase. It's adverse childhood experiences. And what's interesting is we were already working to combat ACEs before we even knew what that was. It is anything that could happen in childhood, create childhood trauma that has a lasting impression on you. So part of our creed that came from Jackson that we have kept and adopted as our own is every child needs someone to believe in them, and we will be that someone. And the ACEs questionnaire is a 10 question. I'm not going to go through them with you, but it basically is if you answer yes to so many of these, then you're probably there. The CDC, the government says you're going to have lasting issues. And one of them was, did you feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were special? How sad is that? I mean, I can look back at my childhood. I could probably fill this out and have very few ACEs. But I am surrounded by people and children that would mark most of these. And how sad is that? But basically, this is setting you up. They're already saying you are set up for failure in your life. So at Hope, what do? Well, every child needs somebody to believe in them, and we will be that someone. And I can tell you there have been children that have come through our program in the 16 years we've been here that we have been that someone. I can tell you that Miss Kathy received a kindergarten photo with this little poem on it because this little boy didn't have a mama. And so she was a recipient of that. So you don't take lightly the relationships that you have with the kids. I'm talking to my staff now specifically. So creating and sustaining safe, stable, nurturing relationships and environments for all children and families can prevent ACEs and help all children reach their full potential. And that's from the CDC. We were already doing that. So when you see this little purple question mark, I'm going to give you a few facts about what we do at Hope. Trying, Bobby. Okay. So finding the yes, this is one of the mottos we talk about at Hope because we know the no. Kids know what not to do, right? But what are we giving them to do? We tell them, don't do that. You're not supposed to, this, this, and this. But where's the yes? So that's one of our mottos, finding the yes. And so these are some of the ways that we find the yes at Hope. There you go. Our after-school program, you can keep going, Bobby. A lot of you know what we do here. We provide transportation from school to Hope. They get a snack, homework help, one-on-one tutoring, and dyslexic tutoring. Since last year, 3rd through 8th grade reading and math proficiency increased 10 percentage points. I think that's great. We've been low, very, very, very low, and we're starting to see an increase. I'm not going to take full credit for that. The school has done a lot, but I'm telling you, we've worked hard. We've worked very hard. So we're going to say our partnership with the school, we're going to be part of that good news. Okay, and the next. Okay. Let me say something about the dyslexic tutoring, because that slide's not in this one. Kathy does that, and I had a mama, you don't know this yet, I had a mama last week tell me that Kathy Jowers did more for my child than anybody ever did. So it is programs that are tried, true, and work. What happens if a child cannot read? It sets them up for failure, right? Sometimes it is through no fault of their own. They have a learning disability. They have something in their brain. I don't understand dyslexia very well. If you want to talk to her after church and find out some information about it, but there is some things that they have to learn a certain way. She provides that service here. We do not charge any child's parents for that service. It is an expensive service. They have to be trained in different systems. She's trained in Barton system and Orton-Gillingham system, and they are not charged for that. These are programs that these children would not have otherwise. They are not offered in Lewis County. So it's very important that you know that. So summer day camp, this is another thing that we're really known for in our community. 48.4% of school-age youth in Lewis County are obese. Well, that sets you up for all kinds of health problems and just problems in general. So at summer camp, that's one of the reasons that we are very intentional about movement, recreation, positive engagement, good relationships. If they're already obese, sometimes they get made fun of, right? So we are bridging relationships. It doesn't matter what you look, yes, we want you healthy, but kids that find their friendships at Hope, I say they are forever friends. I think we've got some examples of that even in this. They are forever friends. And how important is it that you have at least one or two good friends? It's very important, especially with the mental health. But we do a lot more than that. Our middle schoolers really got started with their program back in 2009. Some of you may remember Brother Chuck and Mary Jo Stanley. They attend Blondie Church of God. They began middle school field trips in 2009 where these kids would go outside of these walls and they would go into the natural areas of our county and do all these high adventure field trips. By the end of the summer, they're tubing the Buffalo River. They start out as hikes, they end up, and you know, I think kids come and just think, oh, you know, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. They don't understand the backstory of it. They don't understand the buildup of it, that it is intentional for them to get off their devices, get into a natural area with friends face to face. They can make connections. And am I too loud?
Try.
Okay. I'm hearing some feedback. And they make connections, and they can just create a different space for themselves, a head space for themselves. It's so important. So middle school kids are the hardest to please. If you are a middle school kid in here, I'm telling you, you are the hardest to please. But our middle school program is the largest attended in our summer day camp. We had 45 kids just for that particular program in this past summer. And, you know, most of them, you would say that, well, what would they want to do? Will be at home on video games or on their devices. But instead, we're taking them out, and they're doing the field trips I was talking about, team building, self-esteem building, drug and nicotine prevention, alcohol abuse prevention, healthy eating habits, and learning service learning and volunteerism. Here's some of the experience that they get to do. I am convicted that every child in Lewis County should have the exact same opportunities as a child anywhere else. And sometimes we have to bring those opportunities here. And if that means that we get our school buses and we pile them on the buses and we go to Waynesboro so they can go on a water slide because they've never been on a water slide, and most of them probably won't ever get to go to a water park unless they're part of Oliver Companies and they get to take them to Nashville Shores, then we're going to pile them on a bus and we're going every Wednesday. So that's part of why we do what we do. Another thing that we're real proud of is the arts. That's not a great opportunity here in Lewis County for kids to be able to participate in the arts. Not everyone is an athlete, right? There's other things beyond sports. I'm a big football fan, but there's more to life than football. So, dance. We've added batons. Sarah, she was a, I don't know, twirler and all kinds of stuff in school, so she brings her gifts. We added that this past summer, and now she's even teaching throughout the school year. Drama, art is where Miss Angel Hunt comes. She's an artist. She loves to paint. So the kids start out with a blank canvas, and by the end of the summer, they've got this great piece of art. Choir, theater. This was our 3rd annual theater program. We don't have youth theater here anymore. Since COVID, that's changed. So Maya, that's something she's very passionate about. So she brought theater to our summer day camp. We're wanting to increase that. We would love to see 2 performances a year when we have our expansion, at least 2 performances, and maybe a musical and a play. We're open to different ideas there. There'll be a lot of opportunities, but that would be open to the community, not just if you attend Hope Hohenwald. Cooking and cake decorating. I know Jackie was very important in those as well. So we want to be very well-rounded and provide lots of opportunities for... Yeah.
You have to say beep.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay. And then not everyone's part of the arts. Not everybody's part of the athletic program. So we have a STEM program. Science, technology, engineering, math. Actually, we call it STEAM because the A stands for art, and sneak that one in there. And that just makes sure that everyone has a place during our summer program. Beep. If you're live, my mother-in-law told me to say beep, and my husband would change it. Okay, so here's the athletics. Of course, athletics, right? Football, soccer, basketball, wiffle ball, karate, and what's new to us this past year is gaga ball. Now, they nearly tore up every Hope Skates fence that we have, but we had gaga ball, and they loved it. They begged to play. I can't go over what it is. Just Google it. But it's a lot of fun. And volleyball. Oh, I didn't add volleyball. So volleyball was new to us. Why? Because Catherine, who attends Freed-Hardeman University and plays on their volleyball team, was part of our staff this summer. So she brought volleyball. Do you see the pattern? If it's your gift and you're on our team, we want to plug you in because we believe that what you're passionate about, you can present that to the kids and they can find their passion as well. Thank you, Maya, for reminding me that. Uh-oh, I didn't go. And character building and Bible classes. We feel like this is very important every morning, except when we're running out the door to Waynesboro Wednesday. All the other mornings, we take time to do a character building and a short Bible lesson with the kids so that they can really understand what our foundation is, and that is Jesus. Some of our outreaches, Hope for the Hungry. This is where Kevin and Jenny Baker, most of you know this, every other Thursday, they have a food distribution. It's in partnership with Second Harvest Food Bank. It is absolutely massive. We get phone calls. Our phone calls have greatly increased for food insecurity. Our latest statistic is 37.5% of parents in Middle Tennessee report low or very low food security. That's a high number. That's a high number. And I have said this from this pulpit before, food insecurity is not always hunger. Food insecurity is, I'm gonna have to choose between, do I get groceries or do I pay the light bill? This is a big one in September. Do I take my kids to the fair or do I go buy groceries? Every year, Kevin will tell you this, every year after the fair, the food distribution goes up greatly. The fair a lot of times is the kids' only vacation, right? So we thought that, but then a few weeks after the fair, we seen a huge increase in distribution numbers, and we attribute that to the economy. It's pretty bad. I mean, if you've been to the grocery store and you look at it's even middle class folks are really struggling now. And, you know, we're working on this homeless committee, which is not part of our slides, just throw that out there. And one thing that I have said when we met is anybody who is living paycheck to paycheck is at risk for homelessness. We are there. We are there. So the food distribution helps keep people in their homes, keep people a way that they can continue paying their rent. We're very grateful. There's so much more. Guys, if I had days, I could tell you about how this outreach literally supplies 90% of the other outreaches in Lewis County. Not Hope Hohenwald, in Lewis County. Highland Baptist Church goes and picks up kids all over town, feeds them on Wednesdays, and Phaedra will tell you it is because of Hope for the Hungry. I can tell you just story after story after story. Easter extravaganza, most of you know what that is, but the why? I mean, what's our why here? What's our yes? Creates a positive environment for families to connect. Local foster care children have non-custodial visits at Easter extravaganza. It just tears me up every year. I hear the story every year that there has been a positive connection with the birth family at one of our events. You think, oh, well, you know, it's just something for people. No, it is intentional to create positive relationships. Back to school, 11.7% of Lewis County students are chronically absent. Well, we want to, I mean, you know, that's a barrier, right? So making sure that they have the supplies that they need. Might not be a big deal, but it is a deal, right? It is some kind of deal. Hope Skates, this is actually in our new location. I added this morning to the slide. So ice skating during Christmas in Hohenwald, it's absolutely free, thanks to Citizens Bank, a partnership, great relationship there. Last year, more than 600 new skaters attended Hope Skates. Why? Hope Skates. It's not overly religious, is it? No, but it's building relationships. It's having a way that people can connect together in a fun, safe environment, something for our kids to do. Very few of the kids in Lewis County probably has been to Nashville and ice skated. More than likely not. So we're bringing it here. Stuff the Bus, this is where we ask you, this is the season we're in. You will not have to hear me talk about this anymore after today until next year. We had our last Stuff the Bus yesterday, and 26.9% of children in Lewis County live in single-parent households. If they're in single-parent households, I can tell you that their income is very limited, and they're probably not going to be able to provide Christmas. That's where we step in. Also, not on this slide, but a lot of the kids live in kinship homes. So maybe grandmothers raising them, fixed income. It's not going to change. So that's where we come in and with our community partners. And this is what Hope for the Holidays looks like. 22% of children in Lewis County are living in poverty. These are statistics from May. So every chair, the chair that you are sitting in, just go and pray over your chair right now, because it will have clothes on top, shoes on top, toys and gifts underneath, and this is how we are able to distribute Christmas to hundreds of kids in Lewis County. Something that we started last year as an in-depth class, this was where there was such an increase in our youth nicotine and vape rates. And the kids would go to school, they would get caught, the judge didn't know what to do with them, might give them community service, might talk to them, just really didn't have a consistent way of trying to intervene. Most of the stuff we do, I would say we prevent. This is one of our interventions. So these kids now, the judge has the opportunity to court order them to spend 4 hours with me and Christian. And we get to talk to them about our own stories. They come in and they think they're in trouble. But instead, it's a great time just to impart good information about their health, why it might be dangerous, but more importantly, let's say you want to quit. Let us help you. So it's information on how they can quit and next steps. So it's really turned out to be one of my favorite things that we do. But 100% of students attending in depth believe most students smoke or vape. Supposedly, it's false that most students do not. But 100% of every child that has come in and taken our survey answers fact to that. So if they're saying, if kids in our middle school and high school are saying that most kids vape or smoke, it is an epidemic. Something else that we do that Sarah and Crystal are very involved with is our foster parent and kinship support outreach. Lewis County ranks 9th in the state for children who are victims of abuse or neglect. Our judge is really good about making sure that kids in our community are placed in homes here without going into foster care. Ours is the lowest number for foster care in the South Central region. I believe we have 6 in custody now, as opposed to Lawrenceburg, who has like 170 kids in custody. Okay, so, but that doesn't mean, just because they're not going through in the foster care system, doesn't mean that kids are in a custodial home, their parent, mom or dad home. So, grandmother gets kids overnight, they leave a drug home, they can't take anything with them. DCS knows to call Sarah, and Sarah's going to go over to our clothing closet, and she's going to make sure that they have at least 3 outfits to get them started in a backpack or a small suitcase or something where it's personal, it's their own, with a small toy or a gift. That's what that is about. We don't advertise that very much, but it has been a huge outreach this past year. And you know it has if I tell you that DCS is coming here asking if kids can stay in our building overnight, right? I mean, it's a problem. There's 3 care houses across our region, and one of them is closing for the month of December because they have to have a break. So the DCS workers that live in Lewis County are having to drive to Shelbyville or Mont Eagle, which they said is over 3 hours away, to sit with kids after their 12-hour shift. It blows my mind. So this is what I told them. Yes, we will do what we need to do, but by summer, we're going to have a better solution.
Yes.
So in January, we've already got it set up. There will be a meeting for like-minded people who can come together and try and figure out a better solution until the state gets their act together and gets these kids in homes quicker. And I said that to the DCS workers, and I asked them, is it okay that I say that? And they said, yes, we say it every day. Absolutely. I said, we are not hurting animals. These are children. We have to do better. So I said, a cot, a sleeping bag in a stoic building is not okay long term. It's not okay. So if that sparks something in you, let's talk. So last year when I presented this, I talked about the barriers. But now I want to tell you about the opportunities. Because barriers are opportunities. And one of the verses that I like to say is 2 Samuel 22:30, with you I can attack a barrier, and with my God I can leap over a wall. And I believe that that is a great verse for what we have seen in this past year. So y'all ready? Buckle up. Here we go. So what's the plan? Expansion. I mean, you look at it and you think, oh, you're already doing so much. There's so much more to do. There's so many kids that sit on our waiting list. There's plans that have to be made for other opportunities that are out there. I had a sit down with Judge Spitzer, who asked to meet with me to see if we could come up with some type of parenting classes. So when parents get their kids back, maybe they're in DCS custody, they have to check these boxes of a home, a job. There's different boxes that they check, but there's nobody is building a relationship with them to change their behavior so that there's not this cycle. So he's come to us and said, hey, will you put something together? Sure. So we're researching. We're looking into, okay, what would that look like? Yes, we have the facility already to do that, but what's that going to look like? So there's a lot of other things in the works. So this is part of the plan. So Chris, let's see. I think I might can do it. Let's see if I can do it. Y'all knew these weren't blank, right? Da-da-da-da. See, I really thought I was going to have a collective sigh. Everybody, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So we have been working very diligent on our expansion project. What does that look like? What are the spaces that we need? So this is our Building Hope and expansion. This is kind of what our building will look like. It will be built right behind this building on that parking lot. It will be 12,400 square foot with a gymnasium, a performing arts stage, a commercial kitchen, an elementary play space, and 5 additional classrooms. This is where you clap. I am so excited about this because we have worked with so little for so long.
Yeah.
And it's time. I mean, it is time. We have been talking about this specifically talking about this and raising money for 2 years. So we are ready in 2024. We will be building. So we're excited about that. How? How? You know, we're not a huge organization. We are Hope Hohenwald. We are grassroots. We are local level. And how are we going to do that? God. So one way, and this is all through God, we have a community partner that has offered to build our building for cost and labor. No upcharge on materials, cost plus labor. That's huge, right? That provides a deep discount. But wait, there's more. Community partners, I probably made an error on this. Oh, okay, there's community partners who's offered to project manage the building. So I am not a project manager, right, Kevin? Right, Justin? They have experience with me. But Highland Corporation and Highland Charitable Foundation has offered their resources to help us project manage this building, this expansion. That's huge. I mean, you think they put stores everywhere. They have got so many connections, and they're willing to sit down with me with our plan, get it out for quotes, and carry it on from there. We clap at that point too. Not to mention the amount of dollars that they have already donated and promised to donate. But wait, there's more. Community Commitments projects the expansion to be paid in full within 3 years. I don't even have to tell you anymore. So with current commitments that we already have, in July we will have $504,000 already. That does not include the over $450,000 that has already been raised to completely pay off the property that has been purchased and the 2 buildings that have been renovated. So we are looking at over $1 million or close to $1 million that we will have already raised from the beginning of Building Hope capital campaign until July, when we expect to have these other donations come in. That's huge. So something else that but wait, there's some more. But let me say this before we move on to the next slide. We want to be let me get my wording right. Good stewards of every dollar that comes in. And so because of that, we have been chasing 0% interest like there's no tomorrow. So if you go to buy a home or a business or whatever you go to do right now, prime is 8.5%. We are approved right now for 8.5% for $1 million. But I cannot take our donors' money and spend $8,000 a month on interest. It is not a good steward. So there is this program. It is through the USDA Department, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and it is called a red leg loan. And it is through a local utility department. So I have been working with MLEC, our local utilities, to apply for this 0% loan. It's for 10 years with a potential 2-year deferment, which would give us 12 years to pay this off, which, what did I say? We potentially don't need but 3, right? But so it has already passed the local board, and now it is at the regional board of directors. They will actually vote on that December 19th, whether or not they want to partner with us and move forward with this plan. They had met a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't a no, it wasn't a yes. It's like, I need more information. Send me 5 years of financials and more of your narrative. And I'm like, absolutely, I'm happy to do that. And so that is now sitting around those board of directors. They will meet December 19th. If that is a no, there is another opportunity that's a 3.6 to a 3.85% interest rate. I'm okay with that. We can handle that. We're just not going to handle 8.5% that we could potentially qualify for, and it is through another program through the state of Tennessee. It's a little bit easier to get. Also, the USD Red Leg requires a 20%. It's an 80-20, and we already have that, right? I mean, like we're at a 50%, so that's pretty exciting. Ah, there's more. Y'all, it's just like I called last Wednesday before last Wow Wednesday, because it was just like so much was coming in. And one of the things is we had applied for a grant through the Healthy Built Environment. It's a state of Tennessee grant. And in front of the building that we have renovated is just this kind of yucky area that everybody from Last Chance gas station just turns around in. So we put together a proposal a grant, requesting a grant of $80,000 to put in an inclusive play space. So this is actually what it's going to look like, and it's going to be right in front of our building with, also we'll have a picnic table, a water fountain, a green space, and we have 2 years to do it, but you know us, we get in a hurry about everything. So we hope to have it done by June. We'll see, because the grass is an issue when we can get the grass planted. But this is exactly what it's going to look like. Y'all, we were one of 14 funded programs across the state. And I think it was like 160 something applied. We were in the same list as like UT and Boys and Girls Club, these national known organizations, and then it's Hope Hohenwald. I love it. All right, what else we got going down the pipe? Oh, there's even more expansion. This is free money too. Y'all get that? I mean, that's not even, I'm not even having to ask for that. Just go ahead and clap. So, this one is not, the press release is not out yet, but it will be after. That's okay. It's going to be. But we had partnered with our county for a food insecurity grant, and they had to do most of the legwork and get it all submitted. We just really provided information. So basically what it was is each county could apply for up to $500,000, and you had to be serving a rural area. And we had asked for $450,000 worth of stuff. And they responded and asked us to take the floor scrubber out of all that, the floor scrubber. It's like, okay. Highland Oil is buying us a floor scrubber. So, but I just want to take a minute. I don't want to steal Kevin's thunder on this. Do you want to say anything about it, or you want me to? Okay. I just want you to read what this is going to purchase for the food distribution in Lewis County, which will create sustainability for probably 8 to 10 years. Kevin is on the side of the road on interstates trying to fix vehicles. He's got wires hanging out of a pallet jack. We have to put down cardboard in the warehouse for the forklift to ride on because it's such a massive oil leak. I'm telling you, this is creating sustainability and increasing capacity. A refrigerated 24-foot truck, pallet jack total of 2, pallet stacker, electric forklift, 53-foot refrigerated trailer, delivery van. When volunteers aren't there to deliver to this specific neighborhood, that neighborhood does not get delivered food. This takes that barrier away. Storeroom shelving, warehouse pallet racks, pallet storage boxes, egg filler flats, because Ancient Nutrition says we can have all the eggs we want. We have no way of getting them, but we will have a delivery van and we'll have egg cartons. I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's a barrier, right? You got eggs, if you don't get them there safely, you don't get them there. An ice maker, a solid door reach-in refrigerator, hanging folding chairs, and one of those carts, 12 72-inch round folding table. Do y'all know how many kids we serve on Wednesday nights here? It is massive. The trolley cart, and then shipping and handling, it covers that too. Oh, we're not done. We just received an email that we were awarded out of like 600 and something applicants. I don't know how many they funded, but we were awarded $5,000 discretionary grant from the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to provide life coaching to 500 families receiving food assistance. Before COVID, I think Kevin will tell you the relationship between his volunteers, and the people they serve was very great. And when you have relationships, you're able to meet needs better. But since COVID, we have to do a drive-through. It's been very different, so there's been some connection lost. This is providing a little bit more of an assistance to them, where finding out some more information. Can we connect you to other resources? You know, are you of working age and able to do something different? Can we, and we connect you to other resources in the community that's already got programs available. We're not going to have to create new programs with this. We're just bettering our relationship with those families so that we can connect them to the resources that are already available. A few weeks ago, he and his team served over 850 families in one day.
And other counties.
And other counties. Perry, and what's the other one? Franklin County. Well, and it's because some of their services have been decreased. So he's gone in to help. And with Perry County, I mean, it's pretty much a mobile pantry, but Kevin actually drives over there, and their people do the work of it. But it's still a partnership with other counties. And there's more. There's a place for you. I hope I've said something today that has given you reason to partner with us in some way. And I'm not a beggar. I'm not even asking for Building Hope. I know God is going to do this. He has shown time and time and time again. So I'm not even asking for those big dollars right now. I'm believing for it. I know it. But I'll tell you what we do need. We need monthly support, because what's going to happen is our increase is going to be fivefold. You've got 5 times the building. You've got more programs going on, so your utilities are up. Everything's up. But I'm not asking for it in big numbers. That does have some big numbers on it. But there is a way that you can help support us monthly, where we know that we have something coming in to help sustain us. You can do a one-time donation, you can do a monthly, or you can do a roundup. So this is what I wanted to explain to you for just a minute. So if you go to our website, I think, let me see. Are you still controlling it, Bobby?
No, we didn't need anything. That's the end. That's why it's locked.
Is it?
Yeah. We don't run out of space.
Ah, there it is. Okay. So there's a QR code. It will take you straight to our website, www.hopehohenwald.org. But once you're there, if you're on your mobile device, this on the far right, any page you go to, that donut button's going to follow you. Donate. Did I say donut? I wish Jamie were here. That donate, I hadn't had breakfast. Maybe that's what it is. That donate button is going to follow you. But if you click on that donate button, the middle screen is what you get. And it gives you the option to do a one-time donation, a monthly donation, or a roundup. Now, one time, obviously, self-explanatory. Monthly, self-explanatory what that is. Where it says choose a campaign, you can actually click on that. There's area of greatest needs, and then there's different programs. Let's say the food distribution really grabs your heart. That's something you want to support. You can click the food distribution. Say the Hope for the Holidays is something that you feel strongly about. You can choose that. You can choose different ones. Our Building Hope expansion project, you can choose that as well. But then there's another button that's on the far right, and it's Roundup. And when you click that button, this screen to the far right comes up. This will allow you to connect any card that you have, and every purchase that you make that you swipe your card, it will go up to the next dollar. Now, I know when we were in school, we realized that Roundup was only at 0.5, right? That's when you round up. Well, this is 0.02, it still rounds up. So if let's say that your purchase is $19.02, then it'll go up to $20, and then we get the 98 cents minus the fees that are required for the service that we use. But it's a great way to give when you don't really realize that you're giving. I mean, it's not affecting your pocketbook nearly as much. You can put a limit on it. It will do as little as $10. I know Jeannie and Terry have set that up. Was it a really easy way to set up?
Yes.
Okay, so it was very easy to set up. You can attach as many cards as you would like, as few cards as you'd like. It may be a card that you only use every once in a while, or it can be something that you use every day. You can set your limit at 30, and basically, if you swipe your card so many times, 45 times, but you hit that $30 limit, it's not going to take it out anymore. So I think that this is a sustainable way that we can continue to get donations and help us without it being a hardship on anyone. Now, if you want to give the big dollars, we are happy to have one of these. But I do know that I'm speaking to a lot of people who really just can't, and I understand that. I know we're stretching it ourselves right now. But maybe the Roundup is a way that you can give. And I know you had mentioned taking up an offering, and I mean that's perfectly fine if you want to do that. If you feel like you want to give to it. I'm very happy to receive your donations, but I don't want you to feel pressured in any way. I feel like that this is a God thing. I just want you to be a part of it. I mean, even if it's not your dollars, connect in some way. I mean, get on the train. we're going, and we're going fast, and we're serving, and the impact is so great. And I just want you along for the ride so that you can be just as blessed as we are here. I did not bring a shovel. David had talked about, us doing a shovel. And I'm going to tell you why. Because
what's projected inside date from David?
So, yeah, so from our last meeting, I was told that they wanted to see our building finished before next school year. And I said, amen. I said amen. But I did not bring the shovel today because, like I said when I first stood up here, this is so much bigger than just this room and so much bigger than just Hope Hornwald. It really is a community partnership with so many different organizations, groups that help us do what we do, what God's called us to do. And so we will have a groundbreaking, and we will put these up for everyone to see so everybody knows, but we want to do it at a time when we can have the whole community there. So look for a groundbreaking, and I said we would do a ribbon cutting in the front and a groundbreaking in the back. So we've got a lot to celebrate. Thank you for your attention. I know I've been long, but thank you.
That was a Christmas parade right there, wasn't it, Charlie? I want to tell y'all a separate side of what she just got up here and said. When that song says you're worthy of it all, when it says all the saints and elders laid at your altar, I can truly say we've laid it at the altar, babe. Y'all might, Chad just said this, y'all might not know this, Tonya's never made outside of $20,000 a year, or being the CEO of Hope. Every bit of this you just saw, and the board she sits on with the health council, with the board she sits on, she's never brought home half of what I've made. close, but in that, God began to show me something. He said, you're about to see a generation that is going to operate out of blessing, not curses. In the 15 years you spent here, Tonya, pouring into these kids' life, the 15 years, the plus years, Kevin in the food ministry, all that, you're about to see, you have broke the curse that so many families have lived up underneath in our community. And we are about to see. So church, what you need to prepare for is to be able to teach people how to live and operate out of blessing, not curses. Yeah. It's unreal. It's unreal, Kevin, when $1 million in the past, what has it been, the past 6 weeks, right at $1 million between the donations?
Plus 445.
That's what I'm talking about. The 445 and 375 came in within 2 weeks apart. That's unreal. And all I can say is, we don't deserve it, but when we're able to take our crowns and put them right here and say, Heavenly Father, you do with me. You do with my life what you want to. We operate out of blessing, not curses. And I believe that's where this house is. And so when Tonya says you give, I don't know, are you going to do another tithe? Is that what you want to do? I'll let you get up here and talk that. But from the bottom of my heart, Scott, Oliver, you and your families, you have no idea how many times I've been in tears because of y'all's giving heart. It amazes me. David Adcox and Highland Oil, you can say whatever you want to about gas prices. Now, I don't care anything about gas prices. That man has a heart to give and to love people. And when we see this and what goes on, y'all, this morning, it tears me up because it's all God. When I see Crystal and Sarah at 10, 11 o'clock at night up here in a little building, sitting there breaking clothes for however many children and the toys, and the love that they put in, and knowing they're just like us. Well, ain't none of us rich. Ain't none of us just living on high life. It's out of love. It's out of the love of God that's put into us. And when I see that, what I want our church to really realize this morning is you're about to see hope operate out of blessing. You're about to see the kids and the families that have come through hope operate out of blessing, not out of curses. And I 100% believe that in our heart. But I also want to thank this body for everything that you do for hope, and pray that if you're not involved and you want to get involved, come on. Because we're not stopping here. We're about to start operating out of blessing, and there's going to be so much more. I love y'all.
I know, I did. I took my mic off. Real quick, just an example of what he's talking about. When the first year that we started, and I've said this story before, but there was a young lady who was with us that was very hard emotionally. She had been through huge trauma. And the cracked bowl, okay, she'll know what I'm talking about. But we lost contact with her. We prayed for her. We tried to love her, lost contact with her until 10, 12 years later, and I meet her because she's coming to pick up her kids in our program. I did not know, because I'd only seen the dad, I did not know that those were her kids in our program. And when I seen her, I absolutely had to come apart, because her kids, it's exactly what Bobby's talking about. The generation, her kids are operating out of blessing, and they are not traumatized kids. They did not have to go through the things that she went through. They are whole, and they are absolutely a blessing to us. And I know that our program has been a blessing to their family. But that was an example of exactly what he's talking about. Is the generation before, it stops right here. That curse stops right here. And that is what we believe for the families that we serve. Will we see the fruit of that, every one of them? No, we won't. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to pray over them and we're not going to believe good things over them. There's some situations that we deal with and that we love and we try to help. it may not change. We may not ever see the change. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to still help. You know, yeah, the opportunity's there, but a grandmother who's on a fixed income, her fixed income, she's not going to go back to work, right? So there's going to be some that we're always going to have to help, and it will be our pleasure to help them. So absolutely, I agree exactly what Bobby has said, that the generation, it's turning. It's turning.
What you got to know is what she said is so real. That's not a fraction of what's happening with Hope. And all this, it's not. And what God's going to do, you know, sometime something will just come up out of you and you said it before you thought it. But a long time back, Tonya told me about the waiting list that she had for kids and Hope. No space, no place to put them. You give her the spot, she'll facilitate it. She'll make it happen. But there was nowhere to put any more kids. And you do not realize what all had to happen in the old sanctuary over in the fellowship hall. How many different transition from one group to another 4 or 5 times a day. But it can't be any more than that. It's just all the time and space. And when she said that about that waiting list, it just came out of my spirit. Tonya, that's not acceptable. Telling kids we don't have a place for you in the midst of this is not acceptable. That's just not. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, see, as your pastor, I want you to know we got an enemy. The devil hides things for you. That's those barriers. He hides things from you. Your God hides things for you, and he usually hides them in you. And something will pull that out, and that's. But this is just a small fraction of what happens. If you go to Kevin in the food ministry, we had a men's breakfast here yesterday. We had bacon and sausage and eggs straight out of the food ministry. We had biscuits, bacon, sausage, and eggs. You know what we had to buy? Biscuits. And there's so many ministries, and the Hope Center ministries, the drug centers will tell you that they couldn't do what they do without Kevin providing the foods that he provides. So many are dependent upon, and what's happening now, and I'm watching, I look at the players on this team that God's put together. Some that will never dart in the door of that church, but they're on the team, and the community team and the community come together. And just a prayer meeting at City Hall tomorrow morning, the city and the way God brings a whole community together around one purpose. The business world and the political world and the church world. Saying we serve a God that loves people and we're going to do something about this. And it's pretty awesome, the opportunity. And I look through this room at the team. I look. Linda, you don't know what a part you are of all this. You don't know what a part that God has placed, and the way you're a part of it, and you are. And the scripture that just exploded in me, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses. Let us run with patience the race that's set before us, and it is in our face. Looking unto Jesus. What's he got? Okay. He's our source, but you are a resource that God brings it through. And I just, I hadn't talked to my financial advisor over here, Jimmy. Jimmy's taking care of everything that's happened financially in this house for over 20 years. Okay. I never... But I really want today's offering to go toward Hope, everything that came in today for this church. And this church is always going to pour everything it's got into Hope. We're always going to just dump everything. And that was God's plan. See, she didn't mention how I want 2 years living in our basement. with 5 people living in our basement, where if the weather is just right on the rain, you go to bed, you're fine, and you wake up and your socks are floating. It wasn't built for, but living 2 years there, and the way God has worked step by step by step. Okay, huh? Homeschooling 3 kids and doing it, and I'll go ahead and say what I said about someone. She does all this, and she's married to Bobby too. I just team.
And Sarah reminded me, Shoe Sensation has got an aging tree.
When you
So, for shoes, so it's really about partnership.
and God brings things to my mind about the way He's prepared things through. He's talking about generations, and you'd had to know Tonya's mama. You'd had to know the woman of God she was. She wouldn't understand a bit of all this, but she was so fully given to God, so fully given. And Debbie and Seal both remember this. She drew a check of $512 a month, okay, and tithed off of that and gave everybody whatever need she gave to it, okay. And Sue's visiting in her apartment, and she's showing her, she's got $10,000 stashed under her mattress. All for $512 a month and tithing to give it. And Tonya, you may not remember the day, but it was at Family Worship Center after a service. Good service. But when I looked at Tonya, I saw her mama in her eyes. And I said, you will always be all right. And this is just as she didn't, it wasn't born in her. It was born in a woman 2 generations back that wanted to do something in God. The folks that they were in is awesome. And God's put together a team. I'll say it one more time. When we told them we were moving to Homeland and want to start a church, they told us was crazy. And if they ever wound up at Hohenwald, we'd know it's God. We know it's God. Yeah, we do. But God's plan is there's a right here, right now. And Bobby, you need to be up there. Or Chad's up there. Reckon we can do the all my life you have been faithful while we give? You know the one, Chad? It's all right if Bobby has to run up the stairs the extra time. He's young. But you can just make this check to Hope if you want to. We're gonna do what's coming today, and I just, folks, when Tonya puts anything online for a need for a Hope kit for Christmas, and as soon as it hits the air, it's covered. Somebody in this community's names I never even heard of. We got that. You watch what God will do in a community that has that kind of giving spirit. Okay. See, we're in a world that teaches you to be a taker, not a giver. But once you break that and get that turned around, things are unlimited. You know why stealing is wrong? Because God's a giver, not a taker. You know why lying's wrong? Because God's truth. And you're created in the image of God. And it's just, we have awesome opportunity in God. I'm going to hush if Bobby gets, we ready? He's pointing at something up there. I don't know what that means.